Behind me you can see the valley, or part of the valley of the Oder. This is a part that is called Oderbruch, or something like Oder wetlands, and it's especially interesting. I'll just move the phone a little bit so you can see kind of the whole width of the valley, because if we're referring to the Battle of the Oder Neisse, some of you may be familiar with the Battle of Zelo Heights. So Zelo Heights was a part of the Oder Neisse, which was a part of the bigger context of the Battle over Berlin. But the battle here, if you look in the direction of Poland, started also on the 16th of April, and the whole stretch of about maybe 5 kilometers that you're looking down here lasted nearly 5 days. So it's just unbelievable. We're talking about some 78,000 Polish soldiers who fought here under Marshal Zhukov, who was about 40 kilometers down south, fighting commanding everything, but fighting more in the direction of Zelo Heights. And the aim was, of course, to open the three so-called gates to Berlin. So the Halbe that came a little bit later, Zelo, and here Bad Freienwalde, and of course another 130 kilometers up north was the more like the entrance from Stettin in German, or Szczecin in Polish. It was, don't forget, in the middle of the spring. The wetlands were already saturated, but the remaining Wehrmacht soldiers opened the floodgates that you can see in the Fino Canal over there, and they just flooded everything, making it even more difficult for the Polish soldiers to continue towards Berlin. So this is why maybe just 5 kilometers lasted nearly 5 days, and tens of thousands of people died in that battle. Although, and this is always a point that we go back to when we talk about the last few weeks of the war, the Nazis had already lost. Thank you for watching. One more point that I forgot to mention that I feel is very, very interesting. One of the delusions of Hitler as a commander of everything was that he was as good a strategist as Otto von Bismarck or as Friedrich the Great. Now the thing is that if we're looking at the location here of Bad Freienwalde and this whole area of the Märkisches Oderland, is that twice in the 7-Year Wars in the 1740s, or in fact once in 1745 and once in 1759, Friedrich was able to win battles here once against the Austrians, later on against the Austrians and the Russian in a battle that was later known as the Miracle of Brandenburg. As far as Hitler was concerned, he thought that he would be as good as Friedrich the Great to fend off the Soviet army and to have a miracle and to win in the last minute. Of course, that was not what happened. He was not as good in strategy, for one, and the other thing is the entire battle over Berlin and the Oder Neisse, the Soviets employed nearly 1 million soldiers against slightly less than 100,000 very last remaining and young soldiers of the Wehrmacht. So the Nazis really didn't stand a chance. But Hitler was already in the bunker and was delusional enough to think that he may be as good as Friedrich. As I climbed down from the Bismarck Tower, of course I remembered one more thing that is essential and integral to the story of the battle here next to Bad Freienwalde. So the first Polish army, with the 78,000 soldiers fighting through the mud of the wetlands of the Oder River basin, they're fighting against the artillery of the 9th German army, and those last soldiers of the Wehrmacht over here, several thousands of them, are hiding in those crevasses, in all those, let me show you those valleys right here, the little nooks and crannies. And at the same time, the Royal Air Force is bombing with mosquito bombers, trying to be accurate, but as you can see, in springtime the trees already provide the total coverage, And this may be part of the explanation why this battle took a long time before, as a whole, the Soviet army were able to cut through the gates, climb up the Barnim plateau, and make the last remaining 70, almost 80 kilometers to Berlin, and then effectively to end the Second World War. That's it for today. I'm gonna keep on running. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye bye.